Matt Norlander just came out with his mock draft pick, which is a little different than others. He prefaces it by saying, I think these are players that are going to be better sooner. And he has Jalen Hood-Schifino at the number 8 pick, which is much higher than most people have him. He does not have Trayce Jackson-Davis in his top 30. So just interesting on how he's done that. And it's just a different, because you can look at all the mock drafts and everybody's just pretty much the same. You move some guys around. It's all a guessing game. You know that most guys are going to go in this timeline. Then it gets a little murky from probably 15 to 30. I mean, it starts to change around. But Jalen Hood-Schifino, that would be one slot past the Pacers, I might add, on that pick for Indiana fans. But that would be a great spot for him.
For the Pacers, can I get them interested in Grady Dick? That's because it appears that he will be available. That's my guy in this draft. I love that kid as a player.
Yeah,
I think he is going to have a really good career.
What a great freshman. He had a great year at Kansas, man.
I am mystified by the current evaluation process. You get into the league, and if you can't shoot, they won't play you. But in the drafts or in high school to college evaluation, they're constantly throwing us these 6'7", 6'8" wings who are unbelievable athletes and can't shoot. Why? Grady Dick is a A-level athlete. He's not a C-level athlete. He's an A to A- level athlete, and he can shoot the heck out of it. Why are people not dying to get him? He was ranked 14th in his high school class. Was wrong. He was definitely not 14th. And now I've seen most mock drafts placing him in the 11 to 13 to 14 range. If I'm the Indiana Pacers and he's there, I can't think of many players I would rather have than him. Maybe if Victor Wembanyama falls to 8. But other than that, if Grady Dick is there at number 8, that's the guy that I want on my team. Because you just can't have too many shooters in the league right now. And here's what I really like about him as a player, Jim, is I watched him play a game against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, they decided to face guard him. They were not going to be beaten by Grady Dick's jump shot. That was their whole approach. They face guarded him the whole game. He couldn't get anything off. And for a lot of players, that frustrates them and they shut down. For a lot of freshmen, they might even leave the gym. But he busted his tail to try to win that game. And Kansas had fallen behind. They were down like 8-10 points in the second half late at home. And he's still out there busting his tail, getting extra possessions, getting rebounds, getting deflections, the whole thing. I want that guy on my team every day of the week. That's my prediction right now. I'm not saying he's going to be the best player in this draft. I'm saying that I believe that unless he's taken somewhere between 5 and 8, he will be the steal of the draft.
Matt has Jordan Hawkins slotted in for the Pacers spot.
I do that, but I like Dick.
He's a great shooter.
Yeah, I love Jordan Hawkins as a pro. Dynamic athlete, tremendous shooter. I like Dick because you get a little more size there, and so that varies your lineup a little bit. I mean, most of the good shooters you have now are smaller, not small, but Buddy Hield is not a big guy. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5". That's what you have most of your better shooters. So Dick Brick comes in at 6'8" and changes you up a little bit. But if they're able to get Jordan Hawkins, I think that would be a good pick.
Yeah, Trayce Jackson-Davis, we'll see how him and Jalen Hood-Schifino wind up. But I don't think Jalen Hood-Schifino is going to go that high. He's everything I've seen him. He's just out right at the lottery pick, right around that, and it's like anywhere between 12 and 15 or 16, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter that much to the player at that level. There's not much
contract, baby. That contract difference between that lottery.
No, I meant in the lottery level. It's like it doesn't
Oh
make
yeah.
you that much more money. I mean, if you're 12 or 14, I mean, it is more money, but it doesn't really change your life. It really all comes down to fit. You want to get picked by where you fit and who gets you. You don't want and preferably a better organization that isn't constantly firing coaches and changing ideas and all that. And next thing you know, you're playing for somebody who doesn't believe in you. And then that's where the money difference comes in. You get the right fit from the start, then when it's time for your second contract, they love you, you're productive, you get that second contract, you don't have to go searching for it. So that's really what matters for Jalen. And so I hope it goes well for him. And then Trayce, I was reading through Seth Davis in The Athletic had a really cool feature yesterday where he does this every year where he goes and he talks to scouts about their futures. And he wants negative feedback. Why, what's wrong with a guy? What's not wrong with a guy? And there were negative comments about Trayce. But it was, I didn't find anything new in it. It was same old kind of thing in his case. It doesn't have the perimeter game and all that. We know that. But I think that I think he becomes a rotation player fairly quickly, depending on the team that selects him. And if it's a great team, it might be harder for him to get on the floor. I mean, a legitimately great team, I don't know, let's say it's Denver. It's going to be harder for him to get on the floor because they've already got 8 or 9 guys that play for him. But if he gets on a team that needs another guy, I mean, I think he can defend at an NBA level today. I don't have any concern about that. And I think he can be a facilitator. He's a great passer. That's the part that I was disappointed that I didn't see from the evaluators in that Seth article. He's a great passer. He can handle the ball in tight spaces and make a pass. That's what makes Jokic so great, is that he's a great passer. If Jokic just had his game and couldn't pass, he'd be a good player, a very good player, but he wouldn't be the foundation of an NBA champion. The passing is what changes everything. I'm not saying that Trayce will be a Jokic. That's not my point. But my point is he can get out there and help you because he can guard at a high level. He can play with his back to the basket, and he can pass facing or he can pass out of the post. I think he will play in the right circumstance and make teams better.
Draymond Green's not out shooting 3-pointers all night. I mean, that's not the same player. I get it, but that's the kind of a role he'll play, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, Dre can. And I think, but I don't know whether Dre was that player. I'd have to look it up. When he was at Michigan State, I mean, he played a lot facing, but I don't know that he was a great 3-point shooter in college. He was a great player, but I don't think that was something. I'm gonna tell you right now how many threes he made at Michigan State. It was in his last year he made 52 out of 134. So by the time he finished, but he started out his first 2 years he made a combined 2 threes. First 2 years made a combined 2 threes, and he played minutes in both those years. So he grew into that. I don't think that Trayce is ever going to be a great shooter, but that doesn't mean you can't face up and make shots when it no longer means like your team might lose if you don't post up and score. That's been his burden his entire 4 years at Indiana. If he doesn't post up and score, his team might lose. Now that's not going to be the case anymore. So I think his offensive game on the perimeter will evolve.
Yeah, he gets to work on it in game-like situations, and he's not been able to do that before. And
because they always needed him close to the goal, and for them, the first couple of years they were scrapping to try to get in. The second couple of years, the third year they certainly scrapped to get in, and the fourth year they were trying to get a good seed and they were never a team that was likely to blow you out. So possessions really mattered, and he had to be by the goal. Not because he couldn't do anything else, but because he was so good at that.